Hey everybody, how are you? It's Grace again, and this is my video for my final presentation. And I just wanted to introduce myself again to everybody. My name is Grace Allen, and I'm currently a senior here at USM Gulf Coast. And I'm a lifelong resident here of the coast, and which makes it really convenient because school is right down the street. First, I'm going to start out by telling you a little bit about myself and how I came to be a part of this program. And secondly, that I'm going to give a little bit of an explanation on my disciplines or areas of focus and study. And thirdly, then I'm going to fill you in on my research question. And lastly, I'm going to give you a little bit of a brief little taste of the literature review and things that I've found as far as my research goes. And lastly, I'm going to give you the final steps as to where I go from here. What am I going to do next? Okay, and I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about myself. Like I said, I'm a lifelong resident here of the coast, and my family, they're all from here as well, and we actually have a family business here that's been around for 65 years. My dad's dad started it years and years and years ago, and it's a soft drink distributorship, and just like the economy and just the changing of the times, our business has been there for all of that. Whenever the casinos came in, before the casinos came in, it was very different. And since the casinos came in, the business had picked up, and we experienced a lot of change with the current economy, the way it is, and we've had to use more creative methods as far as like advertising and stuff goes. So I also want to talk to you a little bit about, as far as change, natural disaster, and Hurricane Katrina, and everybody knows about that. Since my two areas of study are public relations and communications, and I'm really focusing my project on developing a crisis communication plan for my family's business, because we don't have one, and really just kind of studying crisis communication as a key focal point with the two discipline areas of public relations and communications to kind of be the foundation, as you will, for the overall crisis communications plan. And I'm going to read a sentence off of my paper for you. In an already declining economy, and with the war on terrorism in full throttle, August of 2005 seared Hurricane Katrina's vicious and catastrophic presence forever in the minds of Gulf Coast residents. Immediate action was taken locally and nationally by FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and other emergency agencies. However, the crisis communication plan for FEMA was more reactive opposed to proactive. In public relations, it's really important that you're not being reactive, that you already have something planned ahead of time that's organized, because in the end, in the long run, it's a lot easier for the company if you're more proactive. It benefits everybody. And the fact that FEMA was more reactive caused a lot of problems and exposed a lot of gaps in its method, and a lot of people down here were left, asking a lot of questions, and were very confused as to, their methodology and, things that went wrong. The initial crisis of the storm and was the reason really that it kind of got my wheels turning as far as crisis communication planning goes. And the importance of proactivity, like I said, is, you learn that a lot. I don't know if you all have had any business classes, but that was really, really important. And the realization that our business needed a crisis communication plan, not just because of natural disaster, but because of, every day-to-day business activities. somebody fell asleep at the wheel that was driving a route truck and got in an accident, and then there's, a news person with the microphone in their face, and there needs to be a set agenda as to, steps to take, what to say, who's going to say it. There needs to be some sort of like proactive plan, solidified and in place so that, it adds credibility to business and, maintains our reputation that we have. Next, a little bit of an explanation of my disciplines. I chose public relations and communication study because I am a transfer student and I have a lot of background, actually like over 100 hours, in communications and public relations. But that's really not the only reason. Like I said, my family's business had a lot to do with it. They don't right now necessarily have a public relations department. They actually used to pay externally for any sort of marketing or public relations, anything like that they may have needed. And hopefully I can install a public relations program there. A little bit about public relations for just a minute. The overall perspective of public relations, it focuses on establishing and maintaining the mutual lines of communication, understanding, acceptance, and cooperation between a business and its various publics. Publics being the employees or people that are affected externally from the business or the business itself. Communication studies focuses on the processes of human communication, and it involves the sharing of symbols. It can be verbal or nonverbal, to create meaning of that communication. So as you can see, they're both kind of from the same background, public relations being a little bit more businessy and communication studies being a little bit more psychological at times, especially with the nonverbal communication. So it made it kind of difficult for me to find differences because it seemed like there were more similarities between my disciplines, but the differences that I did find stuck out like a sore thumb. So I'm going to this leads me into my research question, which is, why are crisis communication plans necessary in the nature of business, and how can these plans aid a business during different types of crises, natural or everyday thereafter. So why are they important, how can they help, and how do they benefit everyone, not just in the publics, external publics, but also the internal publics within the business afterwards. When conducting my literature review, I used Google Scholar for most of my stuff, and I went to the library for some other things, but it seems that the books that I did find really were more along the lines of textbooks. I found a few articles that were really, really helpful, and some stuff actually about FEMA on the FEMA website that was pretty informative. They've kind of changed a lot of things since the storm, which is good because they need to be more prepared. As far as complimenting my paper, I found that the textbook kind of formatted books were a little bit more helpful, but you had to really be careful as far as being redundant and finding the same sort of information. So the ones that the information that was different was extremely different from textbook to textbook. I found a book on social media as far as like Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff and how it affects crisis communication. That was super interesting, and I can't wait to get more into that. Difficulty, I really didn't have any difficulty, but the only thing is that a lot of them were alike. As far as the next step goes, basically just going to work on, I think I have a small enough foundation to build a pretty big building on top of, and I am just going to refine and kind of tweak things and make sure that any problems that we may encounter with everything, that can refine them a little bit, make them smoother. And I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into my sources and make sure that they're investigated and read over a lot more thoroughly, and if I find any other kind of sources, use those, maybe pick and choose which ones I'm going to use. and hopefully maybe find some more information that's not based on textbooks. And as far as that goes, that's pretty much it. I hope that you guys had a wonderful summer, and thank you for listening to me ramble on for about 10 minutes now, so I'm going to let everybody go. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Bye, everyone.